Call this meeting of the Oxford Historic Preservation Commission to order. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. We all have a copy. Is there a motion that we approve it as presented?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. The agenda is approved. Next item is approval of the minutes from our January 2026 meeting. We've all received copies of those minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes as presented? If not, is there a motion that we approve those minutes?
So moved.
This motion, is there a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Staff report. Kate, do we have a staff report?
Not today.
No staff report. We have a record of administrative approvals that have been made since we last met. Are there any questions from any commissioners about either of the two administrative approvals? If not, we'll move on to the public hearings. The first case is number 857, COA requested by John Lamberson for new construction located at 1401 Buchanan Avenue.
I will note, Priscilla was supposed to be joining us virtually, but I don't see her on the meeting, but she may join while we're doing it.
Priscilla, are you with us?
Oh, she's in the lobby. Oh, here she is, waiting in the lobby.
Priscilla, welcome.
Let's check.
Priscilla, can you hear me okay? Priscilla?
Hi.
Hello.
Cool.
Welcome.
We're starting with the first
Thank
case,
you.
Priscilla, at 1401 Buchanan.
Kate is
Okay.
about to present case 857, new construction at 1401 Buchanan Avenue.
Thank
Kate?
you. The applicant requests a certificate of appropriateness to construct a new single-family residence at 1401 Buchanan Avenue. The proposal includes construction of a 1.5-story single-family house with basement, foundation, and an attached garage on a vacant lot with significant topographic restraints. The subject property is a 0.18 acre lot on Buchanan, and the previous building on the site was demolished in November of 2022. Many of you were on the commission at that time. It was a pink frame wood story house with a basement and was eventually condemned by our building official and demolished due to neglect. The proposed residence includes approximately 3,000 square feet on the main floor and additional rooms within an attic level and a basement foundation with some living area. The design incorporates gabled roof forms, dormers, chimneys, and other architectural detailing. The lot slopes significantly, and due to steep topography, development of the site requires substantial grading, fill, and retaining walls to create a buildable area for the proposed structure. The surrounding neighborhood consists primarily of single-family residential development with a mix of 1-story, 1.5-story, and 2-story historic homes. The two directly neighboring homes are both 1-story. The design guidelines recommend that new construction within historic districts should be compatible in scale, massing, and height with the surrounding structures while maintaining traditional forms and proportions, and the design should use materials consistent with those historically found in the district. The proposed house is 1.5-story building with the below grade basement level. There's a large central gabled massing for the roof with 2 smaller forward-facing gables. The half-story living space is assisted by the use of dormers in the upper rear level, and there's an attached garage at grade. The design guidelines note that massing is derived from the articulation of a building's facade through roof and facade projections. The overall building massing and placement on the lot should be similar to that of other buildings in the historic district. Use of a roof shape or parapet should be compatible with the general district, providing visual continuity along the street and to be compatible with the district. The overall roof plan is more complex than the typical side and front gable roofs that we see on the existing historic fabric of the district. which features mostly vernacular and simple forms. However, the presence of the two front gable forms does soften the impact of this difference, and the larger roof volumes are positioned towards the rear of the house. The overall building may appear larger than the neighboring houses as it's 1.5 story as compared to the 1-story buildings on either side. The applicant notes the differences in the grade on the street and that the finished floor elevation for this proposed new building is set at street level, while many other houses on the street are elevated above grade, which could help with the perception of size of this building in comparison to the rest of the street. Another item to note is that the design includes an attached 2-car garage with front-facing doors, which will be highly visible from the street. The previous designs on this lot, which I attached the most recent approval with y'all's email, case number 707, was approved with a carport. And the previous design before that, case number 631, was approved with an attached garage. Garages in the historic districts are typically detached accessory structures or are attached at the side or rear in a less prominent location. And ideally, any garage is visually subordinate to the main entry. At the time of the previous approvals on this site, it was determined that the topographical issues on the lot would make it difficult to locate a garage in a less prominent location. So that's why staff is continuing to recommend approval in this case, even though it's irregular in the historic district. Regarding materials and architectural detailing, the guidelines note that a contemporary interpretation of historic details and ornamentation can be a good way to differentiate a new building from a historic one. The use of painted brick, copper flashing, standing seam metal roofing, as well as simulated cedar shake roofing reflects materials that are generally compatible with traditional residential construction. While painted brick is not a hallmark of the historic buildings in the district, it's regularly approved by the commission for new construction. And I will note regarding the synthetic cedar shake, it's obviously not a traditional cedar shake roof, it's a composite product. But I have seen this one in person, not from the applicant on a separate project, and it does a good enough job, in my opinion, of replicating a cedar shake roof. So we don't have any issue with the proposed use of it here. So staff believes that the building accomplishes the brief of the design guidelines to use materials and architectural elements to ensure compatibility with, rather than replication of, existing historic resources. So staff finds that the proposed residence meets the applicable historic district design guidelines and is recommending approval of the COA. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have about the staff report, and the applicant and builder are here as well.
Does anybody have any questions of Kate before we recognize the homeowner and builder for their opportunity to speak? No. Thank you, Kate. Would whomever the team chooses come forward so we could have an opportunity to talk with you and perhaps ask questions? If you'd come over to the podium, please, sir, and identify yourself for the record.
You all, I'm Wilson Hunt, and I have drawn the design for this house. I'm a retired builder in Memphis, and I've been designing my own houses for about 30 years now, and 12 years ago I retired from building, and I just do the design work, and the Lambersons are friends of mine and asked me to put this together for them.
Well, welcome to Oxford, and thank you for attending today.
I'm a Mississippian at heart, having halfway grown up in Greenville, and I went to Ole Miss, and look forward to having an opportunity to get something done here in Oxford.
Thank you. We're glad you're here. The floor is open for questions for Mr. Hunt, just based on how the case is presented to us. The staff, I think the primary concerns that I hear from them, one is the prominence of the garage, but the size of the lot, the constrictions make that understandable. And then the other is the term that we use the massing of the house as it compares to its neighbors, primarily the neighbors on either side of it, and specifically, I think, the height of the structure, the center part of the roof. So I think that might be sort of the primary points of conversation here. So Again,
I don't think the height is gonna matter because the lot is so low. That I can't see the height of that building being an issue.
I've done a number of houses in older neighborhoods where it was a bigger house than what's there. And the one thing I looked at when I was putting the roof together on this one was the fact that you can't stand a long way back from that house. I mean, about as far away as you can get is 40 feet to be on the sidewalk across the street. And so what I tried to do was to set the mass of the biggest section of the roof well back from the front of the house. And I used a 45-degree pitch, which gets away from you fairly quickly. And the two front gables are designed with the scale of the windows are slightly overscaled. The garage door height is slightly overscaled, and then I have the big lanterns over the garage doors. And then I'm afraid the plans don't show it as well, but that's a very interesting entry. It's louvered outer doors, which will remain open a lot of the time, and then there will be nice-looking French doors in there behind them. And then within that entry, you'll have a lantern that hangs and in front of the transom for the outer doors. And plus the driveway is probably going to be brick or some sort of nicer material than just regular concrete. And the idea was to draw the eye away from the height of the house, which we need to get the rooms in, draw the eye away from the height of the house and bring it to those gables on the front, which are 20 feet from the street. And so if you're standing at 70 feet away from the house, you see the height of the roof. But when you're standing in front of the house, your eye goes to the lower sections, and which are, I think, very well proportioned and are attractive. In addition, to soften that roof up, we're proposing to use a material called Brava, which is the best copy of a cedar shake I've ever seen. A number of architects in Memphis are using it now where they do additions to cedar shake houses, and there's about 20 colors of it available so that you can get it to look like an old cedar shake on a house that's already there. That's a very soft texture in that product, and so it's not as harsh looking as an asphalt shingle would be. And so that was a part of the consideration as well. And then, of course, we won't use a bright white, we'll use a softer white and an off-white trim that shows just a little bit of contrast. The idea was to make it feel as soft as we could at that size. And the whole mass of the house doesn't use as much of the allowable space, but that's just because of the difficult lot. I mean, that's a 27-foot drop that begins almost immediately behind the little bit of front yard that there is, and it was not practical to put the sleeping rooms at the basement level because we couldn't get egress windows for them. So that meant I had to put the sleeping rooms upstairs. So I did everything I could to try to soften the effect of the tall roof, mainly by pushing it back and drawing attention to those front gables.
So Will actually brought up to a point that the site plan that we have for the property doesn't show the driveway, or there's still a lot of the site. We're really just focusing on the house today. So this is up to the commission, but we would recommend that there be a condition of approval that retaining walls, the driveway, et cetera, will be subject to staff approval, unless you'd like to see it return to the commission. But
Well, we'd be fine with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
and you're filling a pretty huge amount of.
It ends up being 3,100 cubic yards of dirt that'll compact to about 2,200, if I'm remembering correctly. And we've set it up in 3 tiers. Can you put the?
We're familiar with the lot.
Yeah.
It's a challenging lot.
Well, we've set it up in 3 tiers. The lowest tier is the street is at an elevation of 497, and the lowest point is at 471. That first tier that you see right there, that lowest tier, that's at 485. What are shown there are 8-foot tall Foster hollies, and those are 8 feet at the point they're planted. So they'll then be, they'll grow into a really nice hedge in 3 or 4 years. The next tier up is a combination of arborvitaes and little gem magnolias. The little gem magnolias get quite tall, and at full maturity, they'll screen off most of those French doors.
Which view is this we're looking at? Which, is that the east side?
This is the rear.
The rear.
This is the rear. And then there's an upper level that you can just see the line of below the French doors on the back, and that's going to be a patio and small pool right there. I tried to make it as a, you see that from Pierce. And I mean, I kept driving by on Pierce and looking up there and thinking, you're going to see this house from back there. And we need to soften up those retaining walls as much as we can. We're thinking we'd probably they'll be poured concrete for engineered reasons. We've already had an engineer design that. We're thinking parge that concrete with something in a charcoal color and then get the dark green landscaping growing in front of it. And then with the soft roof, the nice looking dormers, the good looking French doors, those are false windows in the back of that gable, just so that's not a big naked wall up there. And I wanted it to look like an attractive house from all four sides.
So what is the elevation of the roof line compared to the other houses in the neighborhood, the one-story houses next to it?
It's quite a bit taller than the two on either side of it. It's divided from one of those by a substantial number of trees. On Johnny, which side is it that we're cutting trees down? East side. West side. The neighbor on the west side will be taking out a lot of those trees. That's also the least attractive of the houses that are on either side. The one on the east side could be very attractive with some attention paid to it, and most of those trees stay on that side, so that you have, plus you've got across the street, that's an uphill lie. The dark painted house that's across the street from it is quite tall.
How much is quite a bit?
So, no, quite a bit.
Taller than the ones on either side?
On either side, 16 feet.
I'd like to see what it looks like compared to its neighbors on either side. If you can do some sort of rendering, would be very helpful.
I think
Is
Priscilla
that,
is asking for a front view of the proposed house, including
the two houses?
the two on either side.
Correct.
I mean, we can put that together.
Other questions? Or the chimneys, of course, look good on the house, but they emphasize that height difference a good bit more.
They do, but they also serve to truncate that center section so that it gives the center section a lot of definition and sets out the fact that the other sides are lower. I don't think that they're not vital to the design, I don't think, but I just like, especially among older houses, I like prominent chimneys, and that's a will thing, not a right or wrong thing.
And then I guess, not just, because if the house is bigger, if it's taller than the houses on either side of it, how it looks compared to the house across the street, if it's kind of balanced out with the house across the street.
The
Because
main
the house
difference,
across the street, if it's up the hill and it's taller,
the house across the street, if I read this correctly, the lot is 15 feet taller.
It sits up. Yeah. The houses across the street sit up compared to these houses.
The
This
house,
house is basically sitting on the ground.
It's sitting right at street level.
It's not raised at all.
Not raised at all. It's
It's floor.
the lot at the east corner of the lot is 497. At the west corner, it's 498, and I've got finished floor set at 498. So it's not, you don't have a raised foundation there.
Can you turn it back, Kate, to the view of the house directly across that one?
If-
So I'm sure the roof line, compared to the street, is comparable,
Comparable.
but of course that is on a
Well,
pretty good hill.
I have a hunter's rangefinder that I used, and I did the math as best as I could, standing on the sidewalk and shooting one and then comparing it to my drawings. And ours was like a foot lower if I did the math right. But I mean, like I said, that's standing there from with a rangefinder.
You know, all this conversation.
I understand.
Go ahead, please.
Oh, I understand why you like the tall chimneys, but I think taking another look at those could be very helpful.
Meaning, you want us to take them off.
Well, I would look
That's
at
a question.
lowering them. I mean, when I look at this, my eye goes straight to the chimneys, which maybe wouldn't happen in real life. So then I think that the building becomes exaggerated in its height.
I tend to agree with you, Priscilla.
Are those real wood burning chimneys?
No, they're false. It's an architectural feature. And we use them to ventilate the attic, which works really well.
They're just decorative.
All right, I've got one more question. Oh, go ahead, Priscilla.
Jimmy, you have a
Yeah, it says that carriage style garage doors are TBD. Is there a garage door that's picked out?
I think that it's a Coachman style 31 or 36, which are very similar in that catalog. And there are some other brands that have similar patterns to that. I went with a pretty simple pattern. It's a single large panel over a smaller panel with the rail between them set low, trying to keep it simple. No, none of the glass panels that you see in some of the catalog pictures.
It looks like it matches up with your louver door for the style.
Similar. The louver doors that at the entry are a tall panel over a short panel. The windows to the left, I use the shadow box panels underneath the big double hung windows to create that extra length with the long shutters. And there again, the goal of all of that is to draw your eye to the front of the house rather than up.
But you could go without the chimneys, because it's a will thing.
The chimneys can go. I mean, they're not necessary for the design. I just like prominent chimneys.
And then if we're not just looking at the house compared to the two houses on either side of it, if we go like 4 or 5 houses deep onto that street, there are a lot of one-story houses, but are there houses that are taller, further away?
If you go west, there's a full 2-story house on the corner of, what's that next street?
Is it off Lamar?
No, it's going towards Lamar. It's a 2-story house. I called out the address in my little write-up that I did. I'm just not remembering it off the top of my head. 14.
The big colonial with sort of 2 facades. Is that the one you're?
Yeah, it's a corner lot. It's
That's it.
there you go. Yeah, that house is actually taller than what ours would be. And it's on something of an elevated foundation there, which it needs to be. That's the tallest one that I could find on that side of South Lamar.
You know, we try to be guided by the guidelines and so forth. And one of the primary things in new construction in an older neighborhood is the desire that the new construction be compatible in scale and massing and height to the other houses, particularly the ones that are the closest to the house. So I think that's the concerns you're hearing.
If I had had a way to create a house that that didn't have to have all the sleeping rooms up on the upper floor, then that's what I would have done. And the challenge here was that, I mean, with a 27-foot drop, and that's not even a gradual drop. You know, you stand there and it goes over the roller coaster very fast. And so we were going to have to fill along the sides of the basement whatever we did. And that started precluding getting egress to the sleeping rooms. And so we were going to end up in a situation where all of our sleeping rooms were on the ground level, what I'll call street level, along with the garage, and then the public living rooms were at the lower level. And that gets to be a very difficult plan to live with.
Yeah, there's no question. It's all about trying to build a big house on that particular lot.
Yeah. I mean, that, I've done 3 houses at Pickwick Lake that we had, the biggest drop we had was about 16 feet, you know, where we used basements in multiple levels and were able to get sleeping rooms on a lower level. In this case, the drop is so quick and so steep that it's just hard to do that.
Is there any attic space in that center section of the house, meaning space that is negotiable as far as
The height,
Yep.
you know, what I'm putting all the mechanical equipment for the upstairs in the uppermost attic, which was another reason for choosing that steeper roof, was to create some room for the mechanical equipment. The ground floor is not an issue for the mechanicals because they can all go in the basement. But I needed some space for it, and it doesn't really work very well to put the mechanical equipment in the gables on the front of the house, because you then have to vent the furnaces, and you've got ugly vents sticking up out of roofs on the most prominent part of the house. That's another reason I use those false chimneys, is where the local codes will allow it. We can put a lot of the vents up there so that you don't have them sticking out of the roof.
Yep, I understand. Other observations or comments? Would the commission like to see more illustrations of variations of what we've been presented today, as far as chimneys, dealing with chimneys, or the view as Priscilla has asked for the front of this house, including the view of the front of the 2 adjoining properties? Do we want
Like a massing plan and
say again?
a massing plan.
A massing plan.
Maybe some alternatives on elevation.
We would like very much to help you to come to some solution that'll work for your challenges and work for us and our guidelines.
So I have a massing plan and street elevation, then any revisions they may want to make based on the comments.
Mhm.
Maybe to see out the two large chimneys.
The chimneys I can delete in 5 minutes in the laptop, but
Yeah.
the massing plan, I'll have to gather some information to get that done.
Maybe that could give time to live on the site plan elements too, so that can all be a part of the driveway.
Yeah, I mean, that's real easy.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Any other requests from any commissioners as far as what we might like to see before we make a final decision? So,
I have a question. Does the height of the attic to accommodate the mechanicals, does it need to be that high?
It pretty much needs to be, yeah. We've got a horizontal furnace and then the plenum and then all of the return air duct and the duct that's got to go to it. So I need a pretty good, and I'm using a 9-foot ceiling. I could go to an 8-foot ceiling and that would give it a little bit more room, but I'm not sure that's enough. I'll have to draw the cross section on that to see.
I think,
Okay, that would be helpful.
yeah, I think it would be helpful. Any things you can do to respond to the concerns that you've heard here today, again, to help us help you.
So I just want to be sure I'm understanding correctly. What I'm hearing is the objection is to the tall center section of the roof. Is that right?
Anybody think otherwise? Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
It's
We
a-
also need to be able to understand how this particular house fits in with the adjacent properties.
Okay.
And I think, even if you were to present with this existing roof, being able to see how that translates with the adjacent properties and that of across the street, I think will help provide better context
Exactly.
for y'all.
We need to see this house in context to the neighbors on either side. It's certainly a fine-looking house. Our concern is perhaps it's the massing just is not working on that street and that location.
I'm not hearing any concern about material detail or ornamentation other than the chimneys, perhaps. Okay.
And I like the chimneys, I just think it might emphasize.
We just need
the
to see
height.
it with
Yeah.
the other houses, and it could be fine as is with the other houses. It could be, or there could be a change.
I think we'd like to see it as presented with the other houses and with any modifications that you would like to bring back to us
Okay.
with the other
Right.
houses. And so what you and the owners should consider today is requesting that we table your COA and present it back to us at your earliest convenience.
We'd be glad to do it.
Virginia,
Right.
can just a point of clarification to something I caught at the tail end of your comment. So you said you don't mind the chimneys, but maybe the height. So does that suggest that an alternative that maintains the chimneys in the design, but maybe a lower height?
Well, I was just saying, I think that the chimneys emphasize the height of that center section, and it might be fine. We look at the street elevation and the massing, and it might be fine, but it just, like, right now, it does emphasize that.
Will you pull up that rear elevation?
I don't think there's any question that the chimneys enhance the appearance of the house, but our discussion deals with those chimneys.
I
on that street
understand,
and that-
I understand.
yeah.
All right, so if you look at the rear elevation, if I reduce the size of that roof, then I have to do what's called a shed roof dormer on the back, which is a second-story wall on the back with a shallower roof going up to join the main. That would give me the space that I needed on the second floor.
And I think that would be an option that we would find attractive.
Okay, I mean.
It's commonly used in the.
Okay, I was worried about having it look like a secondary elevation rather than a really attractive elevation from down on Pierce.
Your concern for the view from Pierce is more urgent than ours is.
Okay. Well, then that does let me reduce the scale of the roof some, if I can do that.
Great.
Okay?
Do we need a motion to table this? Is there such a motion to table this case?
So moved.
Motion is second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Kate, will you
Aye.
send me a note?
Yeah, I have a note of everything. that-
Okay, great, great.
And we can-
Sorry you have to go around the track again, but again, we want to get to a good
I do
place
this
for
3
all of
times
us.
a year.
Thank
You all's format is a little different, but it's the same process.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you all.
Next case is a complimentary review requested by Bill Abington for a new house at 805 University Avenue.
Thanks. I'm not going to do a whole presentation just since it's a complimentary review, but the applicant's requesting feedback on a new single-family home, and this lot was subdivided at the Mayor Board of Aldermen in March of 2025. So the existing lot, you've got the condos on the corner of South 9th, then you've got what we all call the Doty House, which is being restored currently, and this lot was subdivided off from that. So that's the history of the lot.
You know, I think it's helpful for me anyway, the
Do you want me to put up
app
the
you just
street
used
view?
where you would take us to University Avenue and let's look at this
Yeah.
lot. If you
So
would.
we've got the condos here to your right, and then to your left right there is the existing house that this property was part of. And
That's
so like
under renovation now.
we're talking this empty area in the middle.
Everybody know where we are? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julie Spears. I'm an architect here, and we are working on this house for a family of 7 and have done our best to try to make this house feel appropriate. So it's a 2-story home. We are lower than the house next door. We are higher than the condos. But I think that's gonna happen with anything. We took several attempts to kind of break down the massing of this house to make it feel appropriate to the street. There are several 2-story houses around, and then it's a good mix of 1-story and 2-story houses. So we have some low roofs in the front that help the house not feel too tall near the street. And we are set back in site plan. The condos are closest to the street, and then the older home to the left is farther back. So we're in the middle. The front of our front porch is halfway between the difference of those two. And so the height of our house, the front gable and kind of the turret area and the front wall of the house are close to in line with the front of the house to the left. So our height is in line with the height next door. And then our lot falls away from, well, the lot is built up from the street about 4 feet. So the perspective from the street and the sidewalk creates some distance. And then once you get to the level of the house, the lot falls back again. So our side elevations, we have an underground garage in the back that would be used for parking, but that's not visible from the street.
It's a big house.
Well, it's a long house. It's a long lot. The family has 5 children, and this is the place where they will be together. They plan to live here permanently. This will be their primary residence, and our materials are similar to other homes in the neighborhood. We'll have hardy siding. We're going to use the artisan hardy siding that has a thicker board, so you get better shadow lines. It's more like real wood would be in thickness. We're going to use asphalt shingles and brick around the foundation. We'll have a few areas of hardy shake siding.
How close is that to the old Doty house, from what Port Sheridan to the old Doty house?
Let me see. I don't know if I have a dimension, an actual dimension on that. We are not near the side setback. Like, we're well off the side setback.
Is it about the same distance between the property on either side?
Let's see.
Looks like
Kate,
they're about 15
can
feet from
you?
the property line, the market share. And that looks like it's probably another 15 feet, so it's about 30 feet away. Ballpark.
Just a guess.
That sounds about right. There is a front elevation that shows the houses on either side.
Yes. The one with, sorry. Making everybody dizzy. Like this one?
Yes, the
Yeah.
bottom picture.
Oh,
Can you see that, Joel? Where, I think 30 feet sounds about right, but I can get that dimension. I don't know. Bob Mercier is helping with the retaining walls and landscaping, and so I don't know if you know a dimension, but
I believe it's between, I'm
Right.
sorry, Bob, I'm a landscape architect. It is between 20 and 30 feet. If I had to guess, I'd say probably 24 to 26. It could be a little further.
Kate added some drawings today that show a hip roof on the front. I think the original drawings I submitted had a gable. We felt like that helped the hip roofs help soften all the views. But it is really important to me that the house fits the street, and so we've taken a lot of studies and model and elevation to try to make sure we're not overpowering anything.
and Virginia has just answered this question for me, but the porte cochere is a dry, it continues, the surface. The ground
Correct.
surface continues to parking or
Yes.
something in the
So what Kate is showing, that yellow rectangle between the two trees on the left, that's the porte cochere. And the driveway continues down, and then the kind of peach rectangle or square at the back is the parking area outside of the detached garage. And you could pull up the west elevation, that might show. So if you can see the porte cochere, you can go to the one under it. It's just a bigger version.
Oh, sorry.
If you can see the porte cochere where the door is, the lot goes downhill, and then those are the two garage doors to the left of the chimney.
And so there's garage doors there, and then there's an additional detached garage.
We're providing parking for all the people that will be in the house. We're at, the allowable lot coverage is 9,254, and we're at 8,170.
I see some pervious paving specified.
Yes, the parking court, or the area outside the garage and the area around the pool are pervious, yeah.
Since this is a complimentary review, any concerns that any commissioner might have, this would be the time to express those concerns or ask questions that trouble, about any issues that trouble you.
It just seems a little bit close to that old Doty house to me. But there may be absolutely nothing that can be done about that. I don't mean the house, but the addition of the porte-cochere really squeezes that up a little bit. And it's a pretty historic house in town. You know, that was Miss Meek's house 100 and some years ago. A big part of all of this. Anyway, it's a little tight. Just an opinion.
The porte-cochere is back from the house. It's not in front of the existing home. It is set back.
Julie, what about the placement of the house in front of the house? Does it sit in front of a Adobe house?
The front porch is in front of it, but the front walls of the house, they're about in line, but slightly in front.
It's something I probably look for guidance from this commission on the placement of the house in the front, being in front of the Adobe house. You all may be fine with it because it still sits behind the condos that are adjacent to it.
Is that our purview?
It's, yes, I think so. It's my purview, but I think
I'm just asking if it's a planning issue.
So in the conservation overlay, the setbacks are determined by the neighboring properties. So it can't be further forward than those condos where they sit, further back.
Okay.
I think what Ben's saying is that's the director of planning's call, so he would be open to comment from the commission on.
And Julie, is that an issue that can be dealt with if it needs to move back some?
Well, we're pretty full to get everything that my clients wanted on the site. We've pushed it back pretty much as far as we can go without compromising some of the program. Can you go to some of the model pictures? I tried to include some street views to show how it relates to the house next door and how it feels. Maybe, yeah, that where it doesn't hide the neighboring house from walking down the street or sidewalk.
I noticed there's a huge oak tree that's there now from the first street shot we had. Will you affect trees in this construction?
During the ice storm, an arborist came out and I think declared that all the trees are dead and dangerous.
Bill Abington, we had two arborists come out and review all the trees on there and determine what was in the building envelope. And we wanted to save the one in the front because it's beautiful, but there were major limbs hanging over the power lines, one of which hit and had to be cut. There's a major limb that was rotten that was hanging over could fall in the condos. And I don't have this picture I can submit, but they came and removed all of them. One of the people who's working for the city down here did the work.
Remove the limbs?
Remove the trees.
Oh.
And here's the tree. I'll show
Good question.
That's the tree. was completely, totally rotten out, could fall at any point. So they took it out, which I guess it was a good decision, even though our desire was to try to keep the tree.
Yeah.
But the arborist said that we shouldn't keep it.
So trees are a moot point here.
Yes.
We have plans to plant.
We want a lot of trees, so that's.
Other questions, comments? I think it's a beautiful design. The detail, and, you know, it's, I think the house would be a real compliment to that neighborhood and that street. But there seem to be some concerns about distance between it and the Doty house, the porte-cochere, and then the question of how close to the street seems, I'm sure, something you'll want to get resolved before you come back with an official COA.
I have one strange question. Will the driveway that goes to porte-cochere, will it be shared with the other home, or they're separate driveways?
Separate driveways.
There's a bunch of impervious surface today on my lot, it literally goes right up to his house. Daniel, we met with the neighbor and showed him what we're doing in our plans and made sure he was okay with what we're doing in the elevations. We all met with him a few weeks ago, and I've talked several times with him. So he saw it, all that's obviously being taken up, because it was an old concrete parking area.
Are you asking about the condos or the other house?
No, between.
Daniel 3, Daniel.
That's their driveway.
They have a drive on the left side of the house.
That's their drive, and it did circle around and become what was when we bought the lot, because they're both the same size. Our house, his lot and ours are the same size.
So this will be,
But those are the condos that face University.
That's the driveway.
Side
So
this is the driveway.
And there's a little,
So will the driveway, the Doty driveway on
That's the old
the
stuff.
east side
Yeah.
still be
That's coming
used
out.
when that house
So
is
here's the property
complete?
line
Yes.
right here. So that,
Oh, so
New driveway
the
is
one
gonna be
beside the retaining wall that goes all the way
That's their
around?
main driveway now.
Right.
Yes.
it does, but it won't tomorrow. His
And the
driveway's
condos
on the
have
west
a-
side of his house, and my driveway's on the west side of my house, between the two.
And the drive that's being used now on the right side of the Doty house won't be used?
It's their driveway.
Our property is within, I want to say, roughly 10 feet from his house, our property line. So what we try to do, and Julie did an amazing job, we've been doing so many renderings and measurements, try to make sure we were respectful of what was there and what it would look like and how it would sit, and did all kind of drawings to fit, because we got a large family, and make sure that we were far apart as we could, and then balance with not being, disproportionate to the condos, because, we didn't want to look at one side like we were sitting on the condo side. So we try to balance it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Julie, maybe you can include a site plan that shows the condo and the Doty house in addition to the rendering for just for the purposes of the setback verification.
Yeah, I have that.
It doesn't, from the rendering, it doesn't appear like it's gonna block much. What would be the biggest concern, the view from the view shed? So as you're traveling westbound on University Avenue, it looks like you can see much of the Doty house, which the
Yes.
commission would be concerned with.
Well, the model view kind of shows that, but I have a site plan with those I can bring.
And I understand this is just complimentary,
Right,
but yeah,
yeah.
it's like.
I know it's helpful.
It's helpful.
And Julie, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask us specifically, just to hear a response that we have not addressed?
No, I just would like to hear if you have any concerns. We've worked really hard to lower the height and continue to try to lower it. I think we're at a good place right now, but I'm still tweaking things too, but I don't have any
I think it's the most impressive new build in a historic district that I've seen since I've been on the commission.
Thank you.
And I'm prejudiced.
I agree.
I agree with you because
It's very thoughtful.
Yes, thank you.
we've gotten a recommendation, we didn't know Julie, and and after meeting with her and interviewing her and realizing how important the historic district was to her and telling us what you look for and what you do, that we felt like she was the right one to, and I grew up in Mississippi in a historic house in Delta, so I can appreciate, you know, and we know our neighbors, Daniel and Ava, so that was important for us to make sure that.
She's done a great job. The amount of accurate detail is so impressive. Well, we thank you for coming in for the
Thank you for your time.
complimentary review. Kate, is there anything else for us? Anybody on the commission have anything else? If not, is there a motion that we adjourn? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 We're adjourned.